Hey folks, this is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, and tonight on Bike Chat, we are going to find out why girls like mountain bikes so much. All right, folks. Hey, welcome back to Bike Chat. So, pretty cool topic tonight. I've got two folks on the show tonight. I've got Hailey and Phil, and you may have seen that. You know Phil, and you probably know Hailey from some of Phil's videos. So thank you both for jumping on the show with me tonight and joining me on Bike Chat.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
All right. So here's the deal, folks. I've mentioned this a couple times and shown some videos. I've got two daughters, and I want to get them mountain biking. It'd be great. Obviously, I go to their dance recitals, and every time I'm at the dance recital, I pray that I can get them on a mountain bike soon. And Phil had always mentioned that his girlfriend is a mountain biker, but he recently posted a video of her just freaking hauling down the mountain. And, you know, I mean, everyone likes to speak nicely of their significant other. But, like, we've got video proof that the girl kicks ass on a mountain bike. So I'm like, Phil, you got to let me talk to her. Because, I mean, there's a lot of girls out there that are going to want to mountain bike. And it's nice to have a role model, right? And it's nice to know that, you know, who cares if I'm a girl, I'm a guy, doesn't make a difference. I can kill it like anybody else. And that's really, you know, one of the things we wanted to talk about tonight. So, Hailey, thank you so much for joining me on the call. This is pretty cool. And that's where we want to go with this. So let's start pretty easy and say, how'd you even get into mountain biking? What got you into wanting to fly down a mountain on a crazy bike?
So might be longer story than needed, but I'll try and keep it short.
Okay.
I grew up downhill ski racing. I grew up in northern New England, up in New Hampshire, and since I was able to walk, I was on skis. So that kind of started the whole like tough mentality kind of thing. And I'm sure I'm fast on a bike, but I'm actually really clumsy. And I think that combined with a little bit of daredevil kind of led me into a lot of injuries at a young age.
Oh, jeez.
I essentially partially tore my ACL and MCL when I was 10. And my doctor said she needs to start riding a bike to build up the muscle around her knee.
Oh, wow.
And so once physical therapy was over, yada, yada, I jumped on a road bike.
Mm-hmm.
Year later, I did my first mountain bike race at 11 years old,
Awesome.
cross country, and I won. And I was very competitive. And ever since then, every single summer, I would do mountain bike cross country races, and every winter, I'd race downhill ski racing.
Gotcha.
And of course, injuries, concussions, all of the things associated with hard racing. And I essentially ended up choosing mountain biking. That's what made me happy.
Gotcha.
And after ski races or whatever, if I would jump on my bike, that's what made me happy. So I decided to stop ski racing once I was done with high school and go to school down in Lee's McRae. And that's where I learned all about downhill, dual slalom, all of the things essentially. And my downhill ski racing background helped me a lot with
Sure.
gravity events.
So your
So that's
doctor,
how I got into all of that.
So your doctor put you into biking to technically get healthy, which led into concussions and injuries. You know, this is a very tough sell for me right now. I'm trying to get parents to get their daughters on bikes, and you're basically really not helping me too much, right?
Well, I think this is the funniest thing. So the doctor that told me to get on a mountain bike or start riding my bike for muscle development is the same doctor that did my ankle surgery 2 summers ago.
Yeah, but you know
and I
what?
walked into the office or crutched into the office, and he was like, "I didn't want to see you again. Why are you?"
Like
why
you
are
can come
here?"
and visit and say hello, you know, but yeah. Well, look, you know what? My niece, my goddaughter, she actually broke her leg going down a slide when she was a little kid. So it's like you can get hurt doing anything you want, but I think what's important is you found something you love to do, you know, and you're willing to just say, I'm going to go and do it. And I think that's important for people to understand. Like, if you want to get into this, right, you just got to love it.
You gotta be, and you gotta be committed. You have to know that these things happen, and dang, but I'm not going to let it stop me from keep doing what I love to do. Maybe you'll have to, you know, take a little bit more time, build yourself back up. But in the end, if you stay as positive as possible, there's nothing you can't really have fun with. So
now I'm curious about this. I mean, obviously, you know, everyone knows that, you know, you and Phil are an item. I'm just curious about something. Since you are dating a pro mountain biker, do you feel there's anything, well, is there anything different that you think, being a woman in the sport, is there anything different about it? I'm just curious, because it's something I will never be able to know about, and but I have a daughter that I'd love to get into it.
So because of the background I had in ski racing, most of the coaches I've ever had were men. I actually never got along with any of the women coaches I ever had. And I was always better friends in ski racing, mountain biking. There's not always a lot of girls, and I always got along with the guys. Overall, there's no denying they have the better form. They have more of the guts to watch going off of drops. They have, you know, kind of all of the puzzle pieces. And the way I learn is visualizing. I like to watch things being done right and being done over and over again. And then I like to go out, picture myself doing that, and repeat it. And I think because I see more men, and because when I was learning all of these things, I always saw more men, I tended to follow them.
Gotcha.
And I think that comes from building up more and having more confidence in myself, and being like, you know, I don't care if they're going to laugh at me. I already know the jokes that they're going to make about, but I'm here doing this and I'm learning because of them. And eventually my skills are going to get better, and they're all going to be giving me high fives later. So that's kind of the way I looked at it, and that's how I built myself up. So I always tended to, and I still do, go towards the guys. I rather ride with them, learn from them. And girls can get really whiny, and I don't like to hear that.
Well,
and even though sometimes, like on group rides, guys tend to have an ego race and leave me in the dust, like, you know, not a big deal. If I can stay with them as long as possible, then it's better for me in the end.
I'll tell you right now, I mean, we watched Phil's video. Anyone that did say anything is got to be eating their words now. And B, like, I don't know who you're racing with that's leaving you in the dust, my friend, because, I mean, and I'm not even just trying to be nice. Okay, well, you know, you did a really good job. And Phil, I'm curious, so do you see a lot more women in this sport as well? Like when you go to a race, because you've been doing this for a while, has it started to change a little bit where there's more women competing?
I see a lot more women riding. I see the women I see come into racing, I see them last for a few years and then kind of their careers are very short-lived. Because there's not enough women to really like sustain the women's field. So a lot of women come in, and because there's very few women, they'll move up to the pro field very quickly, maybe a little bit more quickly than they should.
Okay.
And once they're in the pro field, they tend to take a little bit more risk than they would otherwise, because now they have this pro label associated with them, and they get hurt or something happens and end up kind of, you know, like getting out of the sport as a result.
You know, I never even thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense, because generally there's a lot of times there's different courses, right? So there'll be different courses for amateur and pro. And I didn't even think of that. But once you're in that pro category, you're hitting the pro course. And maybe technically you shouldn't be there. I don't know. But that's a good point. I never even thought of that. And unfortunately, maybe you get hurt, which is not cool. That's a tough one. I didn't even think of that part of it. Hailey, do you see that happening? I know you said you hang out with the guys more. Well, you mentioned that apparently it does. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to jinx you over here.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me, actually.
Oh.
But I think it's a result of honestly, downhill very much skill based,
Mm-hmm.
but if you are strong enough and have a good enough engine to where you can hold the squat under speed on your bike, or just hold on to the handlebars, and you have decent skills as a cat 2, 3, and even 1, then you can go out and win.
Gotcha.
I mean, I was racing pro and hitting the pro lines only my second year racing downhill, and I
Wow.
should not have been there.
Yeah, they're pretty steep, man. They're pretty. I'm telling you right now, I run scared from them. I take the Mary lines on the side because it's just too much for me.
Like, sometimes I wish now that I met Phil and I started riding more things, traveling more, riding bigger lines. I wish I could kind of go back and do it all over again. If I had the opportunity to stay a Cat 1 for longer, then
Gotcha.
and had more competition in Cat 1, then I definitely would have stayed. It was kind of like jumping from letter F to A.
Gotcha. Yeah,
that.
just too much. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even put those two together, but that's a tough one, and one that will only change when more women get into the sport, right? I mean, that's what you need. You need more women in the sport to give more competition, so there can be more people in different classes, and well, hopefully that'll happen. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I live right over here by Mountain Creek, and when I do get there to go ride, there's always women on the lift. There's always girls there riding. So it's happening. But you did mention, when I met Phil. So that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. So Phil, for you, this is like a dream come true, only in the sense that, you've got a girlfriend that likes to mountain bike. I mean, that's like, it's not like, oh, honey, I'm going to go mountain biking. It's like, she's like, Phil, will you get your ass in the car? We're going to go hit the mountain tonight. So it's great, right? I mean, that worked out awesome.
Yeah, she wants to ride more than me half the time. So, I mean,
Phil, let's go. And he's like, no, it's nap time. I'm like, no.
That is too funny. So what's that like? I mean, we mentioned a little bit before we got on the call to get started. I mean, like, you're racers, you're competitive by nature. There's nothing wrong. In fact, that's awesome. But relationships are tough, and now you've got a sport that you're both very passionate about. And do you guys give each other tips? Are there certain things you just kind of leave as, look, we're just like, how does that work?
The one thing I've had to learn, or the one thing I have trouble with is, I actually try to refrain from coaching Hailey.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she learns a lot from watching and just, a lot of people, especially myself, I learn a lot from doing. So, I don't want to, be telling someone, especially my girlfriend, how to do things, because
Right.
There's that weird barrier once you're the boyfriend, you're trying to mitigate relations, whereas if you're in a coaching position, and you don't have that romantic relationship, well, you can go ahead and give them a little bit more tough love.
Right.
So I find, from my perspective, I tend to side on the relationship side more than the coaching side, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I'm married, and I understand fully that there has to be more compromise, and you have to be a little bit more sensitive to situations. But what about you, Hailey? Do you just stick it to him and say, Phil, suck it up, buddy, get out there and hit the trails, or how does this work?
Honestly, when one summer when Phil and I were both racing pro GRTs and everything, the first few, we kind of did a couple laps together, and then I was obviously slowing him down because I was like, man, this section is tough, and he was like, no, it's not. So we essentially learned to, okay, have a good practice, bye.
Gotcha.
And then I'd be out on the hill and be like, has anyone seen Phil? And they're like, oh, yeah, he got a flat. Okay, great. At least he's alive. Good to know. And then later, if he's like, this section bugged me, or I want to do a course walk, then we'd bounce ideas off of each other. Hey, I saw someone take this line. So we're essentially each other's eyes and ears out there for what other people are doing. But we try to not be on the same section of trail at the same time. very
you-
often when we were racing.
You
Yeah,
figured
It's
out something that
completely
worked,
different.
but I mean, you know, obviously you social ride together, you know, often and just have a good time hanging out, right?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. You know what? The social ride is always funny because like we ride at a slightly different speed, but like she's fit. She's really fit. So on the fitness side, she can kick my butt.
Hmm.
So it's good to have like a riding buddy who
Hmm.
like can drop me on the hills if need be.
Right.
But at the same time, like on the downhill, the roles are somewhat reversed.
Hmm.
But it's always funny, like because when I like when I'm waiting and when she comes like down to the bottom, like she'll have like this hilarious story about like a squirrel ran in front of her and like
I use
It
those
happens
same
every
stories.
time.
That's why I say I can't keep. I'm like, guys, there was a zebra. That damn thing got stuck. It freaking zebra stuck right in the middle of the trail. You didn't see the zebra? I don't know what the hell you're talking about, guys. I try to do the same thing. No, I mean that. Look, you guys are awesome. I just think it's so cool. And Hailey, I think you're a great role model for younger girls and women alike that to be in the sport. You're passionate about it. You got no joke attitude about it. Like, look, it's a tough sport. If you want to be in it, you're gonna have to suck it up.
You're gonna work for it.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. And Phil, it's always great to have you here, and it's nice to see how you guys work together so nice, and it's just really cool. I got lucky with this one that I saw your video, Phil, which I'll make sure I post, and I kind of said got to talk to these folks right away, so that's going to be really cool. Are we going to see you guys maybe in Mountain Creek together this year or something like that? That'd be pretty cool.
there's a good chance.
Yeah.
We'll see. Haley actually just got a job offer. So
A fancy job.
Oh,
I'll be
fancy now.
Yeah. No, I'll be working at the University of Vermont's Medical Center.
Wow.
In their pathology medical laboratory.
Gotcha.
So I actually just got the job offer yesterday, so I spent most of the day apartment shopping and all of that jazz.
Oh, good
but-
for you. Well, I
Yeah.
know I'm going to head up to Highland this season, so that'll be a little closer. And then Phil, that's closer for you when during the summer when you're home from school, right? So that's pretty much an easier deal. So that'll be good. Just want to get to see you guys and go riding. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
All right. Well, look, that's our time for tonight. I just wanted to thank you both so much for being on Bike Chat with me. And look, folks, if you have any questions for them, just put them down in the comments below, and we'll get the answers back to you. And in the meantime, Hailey, Phil, as always, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
It's been
thank
awesome.
you.
We'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't say that. Making a shortcut. No, I'm not. Bad.